Hello. Hey, everybody's here. We had everyone in. So that was fun. For those who don't know, I scheduled this for 9:15 p.m., not 9:15 a.m., and that's where America needs to join the rest of the world or military. And if it had said 2100, it wouldn't have been a problem. If it had been 21:15, I'd been like, oh no, we need 9:15. But again,
it's not all of the rest of the world who uses that, but I know what you mean. It certainly helps when you've got time zones involved.
Yeah, but since we are stuck using the measurement of our oppressors from 1700, and we refuse to update that, why should we change our time? The way we read time, even though the military, the greatest thing the United States has ever produced, maybe. They figured it out.
What are you drinking there?
Antioxidant infusion.
No, healthy.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on your take on what's wrong with just water. Well, the lack of flavor and the lack of some random B complex things which the body arguably needs or doesn't need. So that's what's wrong with water. Time zone for the world, like China. Let's just have one time zone. That's it.
I was expecting Al to be wearing a hat. This, Michael, I've got new superpowers from last time.
What are your superpowers?
I can now produce in here and put things on the screen.
That's right, because I wasn't at the last one, so I made you produce. That's a hat.
Is that a T-Perry?
Yeah. Oh, I've got all sorts of hats behind me. So,
hot dog hat.
Yeah. So the hot dog hat is. So that's from Scottish Summit. So that's our pub team for the pub quiz at Scottish Summit.
I do have a hat.
I have my wall of hats.
Well,
I have that hat.
Yeah, you got me this. You got me this hat.
I got you that hat.
Yeah, you took it from somewhere and passed it to me and said, "Have this." I think it was from Jabra's booth at Comms V Next. So
last year. We didn't have any hats this year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, that's before I even worked at Jabra then.
Yeah, I know. You must have been saying something. You were giving away that company swag before you were there.
Giving away the company swag before I'm there. Well, I also did steal the Panicast 50 for Teams Devices AMA. I just walked up to Mickey at the booth and said, "Here, we need a camera for MTD AMA. Can I just have this?" She's like, "Sure."
I was walking with it, wasn't I? Like it was
first time I'd ever used one, and now I sell those things. Well, I technically sales support those things, whatever you want to call it, pre-sales those things. So hi Al, welcome to Teams Fridays, the most professional show on the Teams Rooms Tech Talk YouTube channel.
It's a Friday. It's allowed to be kind of a bit relaxed, isn't it, on a Friday? I mean, we're all winding down for the weekend, aren't we?
Yeah. No. Any holidays in the UK? Because we have Monday off here.
So we've got Monday off as well. So
good.
A long weekend, the third long weekend of May for us in the UK.
Jeez.
So yeah, we've all been part time for a whole month. It's been great.
Well, is that part of the whole coronation thing? You got days off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one extra bank holiday, which it's been lovely.
Yeah.
Now the weather's good as well. You know, it's just as all of the bank holidays finish.
You know, the royal family. What do you do for me? Oh, day off work every so often. Okay, I'm a fan.
I'm not going to complain. No.
Not complain. Go run around, do your thing, stay out of my life, and then every so often pop up and give me a day off.
Yeah, I think that works for most of us.
And being from Indianapolis, Indiana, the Indy 500 is this weekend, the world's greatest spectacle in racing. And it doesn't quite translate on TV, but watching the first 5 laps in person is a hair-raising, wonderful thing. So that's all I got to say. And then here's the Indy 500. An amazing first 10 laps of action, power, and speed that you will see in nowhere else on the planet. Then 2.5 hours, and then 20 laps of a race to the championship. So that's the Indy 500. So watch the first 10 laps and do gardening, hang out with the family. Then it's like, oh, let me check the clock. Oh, last 20 laps. Let's see how the race is doing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I've got a friend who he takes the same view to Formula One, and yeah, the first couple of laps, then have a nap, wake up just in time for the last couple of laps, just to see the finish.
Well, Europeans and English, because you're not European anymore, have the sports world figured out. Everything's got a time limit. Formula One, it's 75 laps or an hour and a half, whichever comes first. It's perfect. Soccer, it's 90 minutes, a few extra minutes, done. It's not like baseball, right?
Yeah, but then we do have cricket that just seems to go on for days, doesn't it?
Yeah, baseball's that way, but even NFL football, how long's the game going to be? Somewhere between 2.5 and 4 hours. Depends on how many penalties and how many touchdowns and whatever. Somewhere between 2.5 and 4 hours. Whereas in Europe, it's like, well, the race will be no longer than an hour 45, no matter what. We're going to be heading out of here in 2 hours.
Yeah, we've got plans.
Right, exactly. So, Al, presumably everybody more or less knows Martin and I. Who are you?
So my name's Al Eardley. So I'm a technical architect. I work at Microsoft in the Microsoft Technology Centre in London, which is a lovely, shiny, custom-built facility with all sorts of fancy rooms and fancy devices to really inspire people to invest in the technology, both the hardware and the software, and just to think a little more broadly about how they can transform their businesses with technology.
Now, is the MTC in London in the, I'll just call it the Microsoft office, or is it in a different building?
So it's in Paddington. It's in the Paddington offices. So we're just around the corner from Paddington Station.
Yeah, so I've been there to the Microsoft offices, but not the MTC.
No, so it's we were in Thames Valley Park out in Reading for 20 odd years. It was kind of held together with sticky tape and glue, and now we've custom built. So as I say, it's all shiny and new. So we get customers coming in going, "Whoa, this is lovely." I joke that we make the commute worthwhile. We've got lovely rooms with the latest technology, the latest hardware, as opposed to things that are sort of 15 years old and a little more tired, should we say.
So you hinted at it, the MTC, the Microsoft Technology Center. What is the point of an MTC?
So the point of the MTC is to really help our customers really understand how they can actually implement the technology. So rather than sort of us doing the drive-by PowerPoint of, look, this is what you could win, we're kind of more, okay, well, tell us what your problems are. Let's try and resolve the blockers, the obstacles. Let's help you understand how to actually move forward with implementing technology. So we deal with a lot of very large customers. None of them have the luxury of having a greenfield environment that they can just, throw all the switches and use all of the, the simple configuration. It's always, okay, well, how do we make it work with whatever we've already got and work with the existing processes, the existing pain, and make that existing pain go away. So we're more of a consulting piece around pre-sales, you might say.
So if I'm a customer that comes into the MTC, do I see a pre-canned song and dance and the monkey banging the cymbals and this is what we all get, or is it a like are there pre-meetings that happen for hours before you come in so that you can then customize things, or how does it? Let's say I'm Globo Corp. Contoso. I'm Contoso, and I need help with deploying IoT for my farms. Assuming you have a thing for that, how do we go? What happens? How do I get engaged?
So, the account team was the first point of call. So they will come to us and they will say, look, we've got Global Corp, Contoso. They want to do this with the technology. They're struggling to actually understand how to really move forward with it. So we will then have a scoping call. We'll work out, what do you actually need? What makes it a success for you? We tend not to talk about products. So we tend not to kind of do that kind of point solution piece and go, okay, we're going to roll out, one person to talk about this and another person to talk about this. We tend to talk about the business challenges that you're trying to achieve as an organization, and to then work back from there to say, okay, well, how do you actually apply this technology to achieve the outcomes that you want in terms of what your business needs to achieve? So we will often, everything will be tailored to what you actually need on the day. We'll mix in demos, we'll have speakers in there. We'll bring together different people, the right people into the space to make sure that we've got the right content for you. We'll often do a lot of design thinking. So we'll often be working through how do we actually distill down the inspiration, the ideas that we give you into tangible next steps. So we'll use tools like Klaxoon, digital post-it notes to really kind of help get that shared consensus of what the priorities are, what the blockers are, and how do we actually overcome those as well.
So as part of your job, you're pulling it. So it's not just you as being in charge of MTC. You're pulling in people from Microsoft Consulting, whatever they are, CSAEs, experts in the different fields to say like, okay, here's the thing. How would we handle this? Be it custom code, be it just, okay, they're looking at it the wrong way. If you look at the mirror from the other side, it's pretty simple. They're looking at it the wrong way. So let's just have a re-envisioning session or whatever.
Yeah, we're a small team. We describe ourselves as cross-functional architects. So, my area of speciality is kind of the getting stuff done piece. The modern work. It's not necessarily quite so modern anymore, but it's the how do we actually get stuff done? The productivity, the efficiency. Throwing into that a bit about the security, the compliance elements of it. Looking at automation and the Power Platform. Looking at the employee experience piece. So bringing all of those different facets of what technology can do, but together into one conversation. But then I've got colleagues, we've got a team of 4 architects, so we can cover data and AI, app innovation and development, cyber security. So we bring all of those different skills into the room from our team. And then where we need deeper expertise, we bring in, the global black belts. We'll bring in specialists who really understand the different areas of technology in more depth than we do, to complement what we do. So it's usually quite a fun experience coming in. There's usually breakfast involved and a nice lunch, and we do joke that people come to us for the technology, but they come back for the food.
There you go. Like comfy next.
It's not a one-stop shop. We like to have build those relationships and build a partnership with our customers. But also if they've got partners involved, bring them along because they're great to have along because we can give them actions to go off and do the hard work.
And they can bill and make money and stay value add to the customer.
Yeah.
So when I think of an MTC, the ones I've seen, I see just like a room full of equipment, a couple of screens for me to push buttons on and see some demos. So where does the racks full of equipment interface with a discussion of let's not talk about technology so much as let's see what the problem is and how we can address it. Then let's see how technology can help versus cool rooms. Like every MTC is getting a signature room now, right? So how does that all tie in?
So we do. So every MTC, there's 42 MTCs worldwide, and it's a global program. So we've kind of got some cookie cutter rooms that we have. So everybody has the same kind of room. So we'll have an innovation factory, which is kind of a maker space. So it's designed to be, that you walk in and you feel like you're going to be creating things. You're going to be doing a hackathon or you're going to be building a proof of concept, so it's quite flexible, quite relaxed. We have boardrooms. So we've got, some really high-end boardrooms that have all the greatest technology to do hybrid meetings. So you go in and we've got hubs in there so we can interact. We can use tools like Klaxoon. And then we've got our envisioning theatre. And the envisioning theatre in London is a 10-meter LED wall where we can actually put up different tools. So whether it's looking at a phone and a laptop, we can put those up, show cause and effect kind of demos. But then we can have loads of hubs in there to really interact and be collaborative. So rather than breaking out to different rooms, we can break out around hubs and do design thinking exercises. And then we've got our innovation alley, which is kind of what you were alluding to in terms of all the cool toys, the HoloLens demos, the push the button, the speak into this to get ChatGPT to tell you something back, all of the different types of applications of technology in different scenarios that are, more tangible to touch and feel rather than just being on a laptop. So we've got those different elements that we kind of bring together and really kind of blend it depending on the type of session. So if I'm doing a session on modern meetings, I will do a little bit around, say, the work trend index and why we're looking at different purposes of space, designing different space. Why do we want to get people into those spaces? How do we make those spaces really valuable? And then we'll actually do a tour around multiple rooms. So as you say, the signature room, but we'll go into different types of room and explore the physical experience of those rooms, the pros, the cons, the limitations, the benefits of those different spaces, and really try and bring it to life. So we're not just kind of doing the two-dimensional, here's the slides and here's the videos to demonstrate it. It's really trying to bring it to life and get people more hands-on with things as well. So it's an interesting experience where you're not just going to be sitting down the whole day. We get people to really kind of interact, get the blood pumping by walking around a little bit. So it's yeah.
I think when I saw an MTC, there was something about there was like a dummy on the floor, and there was all different scenarios like healthcare and all different number of things. And there was the dummy, I think with HoloLens maybe, and you could like do CPR training. It really highlighting the art of the possible, but in loads of different areas. I was looking around, looking at everything, and I was just like, kid in a candy shop.
We got that dummy there. We don't use it because of COVID, but we do have that. But we do have various HoloLens demos that we do. But we've got things like Nuance in place. We've got Improvator for doing sign-in and security for shared workstations. We've got Zebra devices for frontline worker devices and frontline worker demos. So we've got a lot of different tools. We've got RealWear headsets to be able to demonstrate the frontline and the interaction with teams there. So we've got all sorts of different things that, depending what the customer needs, we can kind of bring those to life and really kind of, have interesting conversations and kind of push people slightly outside of what they were expecting, just to kind of spark that thought process of, well, wait a second. If we had this, we could do that. We never even thought of that before we got here. So it's kind of that inspiration and that triggering those different ideas as well.
That's cool.
And the MPCs, in my experience, tend to be very cutting edge. You're not showing Windows Vista anymore. But is there a time when it gets too cutting edge when you're talking to customers and like everything's like, oh, look at Windows 11, Windows 11, Windows 11, and they're like, like my home PC, the CPU can't take Windows 11. I'm forced still on Windows 10 unless I want to run unsupported. So we can't. So even though we want to be modern, we can't because we still have an investment in a chipset, an AMD chipset that just isn't upgradable. So how much do you run into the like, oh my God, look at the future, this is awesome, versus the customers with a certain reality and balancing those?
That's a really great question, because we've got to try and balance it a little bit so that we're not kind of just doing here's the shiny new stuff, because most of the organizations we work with, they're not going to move quite as quickly as Microsoft moves in terms of releasing things. But now's a great time to talk about that. We had Build, and we've got all of these lovely announcements, all of these new features that are coming. We've got to kind of tone it down a little bit to kind of keep it into, well, what's actually real? What are you actually realistically going to be able to put into a production environment, balanced against those clients who are coming in and going, well, okay, let's work out a 5-year plan. So it really depends on, I guess, the appetite for new technology. We're lucky enough in the MTC that, we'll get demo devices, we'll get the hardware pieces. We've got partners that were giving us things that we want to be able to show off.
I hope you got that Panicast 50 for your signature room hashtag.
We've got the Panicast 50. We've got a few of them, and I've got a Panicast, the Panicast 20 as well. I use. So we've got everything. Absolutely, yeah. We've got everything that we need to be able to show things, which we're quite lucky about. But we do tailor it to say, as a client, what is your appetite for the new things, and what are you actually trying to achieve? Are you happy to pilot things on private preview in order to actually make sure that they're acceptable for when they actually go GA, and then you can start to roll it out to the rest of the organization? Or do you just want to see what is available today, or more commonly, what you've already purchased in your license, and not show you, all those upsell opportunities? So that's part of the scoping, is what is the appetite? What can we show? What do we want to show? Frontline's a great example. we don't really want to be going down the E5 route when we're talking about frontline workers. We want to really be tailoring it to the right audience.
Martin, your turn. I dominated this conversation, I think.
You have. So in terms of, I guess, is there a limit when, can customers come as whenever they want, or is it a one time a year, or is it the account team kind of says, you're in a good position now to go and look at an MTC, or can I come 3-4 times and just keep you busy?
It's a mix. Most of the time it will come from the account team to kind of go, we think there is a real way that the MTC can really impact, the ability for the client to actually roll technology out and to really understand how it could really help them. But often, we'll have them come in, we'll do the scoping call, and we'll identify, well, actually, there's maybe 3 or 4 sessions that we might run. There's a series of things. We might start with a strategy session that says, okay, how can we work out, our end user compute strategy over the next 3 years, and then we might plan out, 4 or 5 different sessions that are going to be doing proof of concepts, really diving into more technical depth in different areas. And they would probably have different audiences as well. So we might start with the C-suite to say, what is the high level strategy? What are the objectives that your business is trying to achieve? Then we kind of dig into, okay, and from a technical perspective, how do you go about enabling this technology to support your business objectives? What switches need to be where to make this work in your environment? What integration do you need? What checks and balances do you have in place that we need to kind of overcome? So we'll often kind of coach people on, these are the types of sessions, and this is how best we can kind of really help move somebody forward with understanding the technology and then implementing it as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, we don't want to be a one-stop shop. We've got some customers who've been in 3 or 4 times, and we've got some that are in every other month because they've got a program of work that is an ongoing program. And we'll often do come in, do a first session, work out what we need to do, come back in 6 months, let's see what progress you've made. Your priorities will have changed, you will have made progress, technology, the tools may have changed, and then repeat that process.
So at the end of a day-long session with a customer, and you said we broke out all, we've got all these sticky notes and we've got all these things. Is it incumbent upon you or someone on at the MTC to then do a write-up, like a little white paper, like this is what we discussed, these are the action items, or is that up to the customer, or is that like kind of out of scope and it's more a way to just generate ideas and not necessarily generate a mission statement?
We'll always put together a summary of the session, so there is a record of the session. We'll share we use digital tools so that we can share them where clients can't get to them because of security and locking everything down. Then we'll put it into a document and we'll make sure that there's a record, because what I often find is especially when you come back 6 months later, having a visual prompt of, right, this is what we did. Oh, I remember the conversation about that particular post-it note. That was really quite an interesting conversation. It just prompts things to come back to the mind and refresh yourself quite easily. So we'll work through, what are the outcomes? We'll always agree outcomes at the end of the session. We will document them. We won't spend days documenting and writing detailed design documents, but we will summarize what the outcomes are and what the recommendations are for next steps.
Because ostensibly it's up to either MCS or the partner then to drill down and make a formal project out of it based off the decisions made during those 2 to 8 hours.
Yeah, and it could be that the customer is doing that. It could be their IT team. It could be a partner. Could be MCS. So whoever's going to do all of that heavy lifting, they're going to be engaged much more heavily. So we would usually have them in the session so that they can comfortably take the actions away and actually develop them into a work package and actually deliver them.
Can partner? I think you said partners can come with customers.
Yep.
But can a partner just come and experience the MTC by themselves as a partner, or is it always kind of alongside the customer?
It's usually focused on
Customer.
actually, it's having a customer in and actually really helping a customer. So we'll often, we'll do a few sessions that are open. So we'll do, some of the Teams boot camps we've supported, but we'll do primarily, we're focusing on those customers to really help them. Otherwise, we have a small team of architects. We have even less rooms, so we're always fighting for rooms. And all right, if I need a room, I need to actually book that in and make sure that's there, rather than just it's most of the sessions we do are most of the day. So we're booking out 2 months in advance. It's quite a long time that people are waiting to get in. So the prioritization is quite an interesting exercise.
In the UK, is it just London?
It is just London, yeah. So outside of the US, there's only one MTC in each country. In the US, I think there's about 12 MTCs around the US.
A little bit bigger over there.
Yeah, I haven't counted, but 12 seems right. Like Boston, I'm just off the top of my head. Boston, New York. I think Miami's going to get one. Atlanta, Chicago,
Yeah.
Dallas. Someone told me Houston has one.
Houston, Silicon Valley,
Seattle, obviously, Los Angeles, San Francisco. So that's getting close to 12.
Yeah, so they're dotted around, but yeah, in Europe we've got UK, we've got Paris, Zurich, Munich, Milan.
Do you do any? I guess the answer is no, or did you during COVID? How did the MTC work when nobody could come into the MTC? Do you do anything virtual, remote, hybrid? Do some customers kind of join hybrid with people in the room, or is it?
Yeah, we prefer to have people in the space, because it gets them out of their workspace. It enables them to focus more because they have less distractions. That being said, a lot of the customers that we deal with are global, so we'll often have folks joining from the US or from Europe, and then we'll be able to kind of do a hybrid session as well. And we'll have people who can't turn up for one reason or another, health reasons, childcare, train strikes, so we have the capability to run a hybrid session, but we would always choose, if possible, to have people in the room, because we'll always get much more interaction. And whilst hybrid is great, we can enable it, we can do it, it's almost that stepping out of your usual workspace to actually really then concentrate and immerse yourself on the day.
Yeah,
but yeah, we do all sorts of remote stuff, and our rooms have all sorts of really good acoustics in them. So we always have to point out to people, just don't whisper to your colleague, because everybody online will be able to hear everything that's being said, which is always an interesting kind of subtle difference that people have, that you can't just lean over to your colleague and just criticize the speaker, because everybody will hear it.
I've tested those Sennheiser ceiling tiles. I don't know if you have those.
Yeah.
And I was literally facing the wall whispering, and the person, I was in Lisbon, and the remote person was in the UK, and it's like, you just said hello to me, and then you called me a ding dong. I'm like, that's exactly what I said, as I'm facing a wall whispering, "Hi Rob, you're a ding dong," and he's like, you can hear it. I'm like, that's insane. So
those Sennheiser mics are phenomenally good.
Yeah. So to your point, yes, unlike at home, don't whisper; they will hear it. MTCs, is there any kind of community outreach or student days or anything along those lines, or is it all business all the time?
It's business most of the time. We have interns in the UK. They do a lot of the educational outreach. So they'll have students coming in, interns, a lot of stuff where they're kind of just showing off the HoloLens primarily, and the really cool stuff that everybody wants to see and have a go with. So they do a lot of that stuff. For the technical architects, we are mostly just focusing on the business side of it. But that being said, we'll have all sorts of weird and wonderful requests, and some of them will be more interesting than others, and so we kind of go, oh, actually that sounds quite interesting. want to have a go at that one. Yeah, let's do that one, because that sounds cool. So yeah, we don't have strict criteria in terms of qualification, what we do or don't do. It's kind of there's a bit of choice, and there's a bit more of a, well, okay, if it aligns to our business objectives, then we'll do it as well. So a good story is worth an awful lot in terms of what we can shout about, and if it's going to be public, then that makes it even better. So where we do things like hackathons, we're more likely to do it if we know that a client is going to be shouting about it on social as well as internally, just because it just builds a buzz.
And who maintains the equipment? Is that your job? Is there a staff of like
So we
MTC IT people, or
so
because there's some major equipment in there,
and it takes a lot to keep all of these demos up and running, and to all of the rooms and everything. So each MTC has a dedicated engineer who supports all of the putting in new demos, making sure that all of the kit's working, rotating passwords, etc., and all of those sorts of things. So
because you guys will have like Azure Stack and stuff like that, right? This essentially exotic hardware. That not like Joe IT is like, how do you manage Azure Stack? Like that you have to learn that. You don't walk in off the street knowing how to do Azure Stack and Teams rooms.
Well, when you come in and you kind of come into Teams, the rooms that we've got Teams room, so everybody should know how to do that. The one button, join, done. But then we've got Extron in there as well for actually swapping feeds around, and that confuses people as well. So often we're doing, where we have people in just using the rooms, then they will need AV support just to be able to say, how do I connect to this and actually present, Air Server or whatever it is that we're using in the room. So we do a lot of that kind of coaching for people to say, this is how you use this. This is how you get the best out of this space. Our 10-meter LED wall, we give them a slide deck to work with, because it's a very unique layout for slides that most people just go, didn't know you could get slides that wide. So it's things like that we'll support and coach people to actually understand how they can make the most of it.
I was going to ask a question, but I can't remember what it was. For some of these demos, and do you have to wipe them after each one and start again?
We've got a dedicated environment. So we've got a dedicated environment for the MTCs worldwide. So we've got a safe space to build our demos that is licensed. So we're really quite lucky in that respect, that it is a permanent environment where we can set stuff up and it will stay there. So we don't have to wipe it, we don't have to rebuild it, we don't have to go through all of the pain of compliance demos, right? Set it up, wait 20 days for it all to kick in, and then so it's all kind of there. It's more the standard kind of, whenever you're doing a presentation or a demo, are all the buttons still in the right place? Just checking to see what's being updated. Those are the sorts of things that we still have to do, but we're quite lucky with our environment.
We now have a Bing button on the Edge browser. Is that going to affect the demo?
How do I roll that into a demo? Absolutely. It's those sorts of things that you kind of go, okay, if I do, I can do that. Try not to fall into the trap of click that new button mid demo. That's always the dangerous risk.
What does this do?
No, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Is it too early to be thinking about Copilot in the MTC? As that's spoken about everywhere.
It's too early for us to demo it. Yes. So we need to kind of balance what we demo and what's, rather than, we don't have all the private previews enabled, but there are some things like Copilot that we are working very hard to bring in order to be able to show. I think at the moment we've got some users have it depending on the region that they're in. I think if they're in the US, then there's some availability, but not elsewhere yet. So we're always trying to work to get all of these things in as fast as we can, because we know after build or ignite, there's going to be a set of conversations that everybody's going to want to have. So every session we're doing at the moment has a conversation about OpenAI, ChatGPT, AI generally. You just can't escape it. So we've got demos that we've built to kind of show that. So we've got bots, Power Virtual Agents, we've got some custom solutions we've built. So just things that kind of bring it to life in lieu of Copilot being available.
Is there any most requested demos?
Everybody loves the HoloLens demo.
I've yet to use it.
Really? That doesn't go away. Everybody loves the HoloLens demos. I think it's always the new products. When Microsoft Places was announced, everybody wanted to see Microsoft Places. Mesh for
I'd love to see
Teams.
Microsoft Places.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome
Mesh
if we could see it.
Mesh for Teams is another one that everybody wants to see,
Yeah.
and it was avatars. After whatever's the latest thing, that tends to be what most people are interested in. So at the moment, yeah, AI is everybody is asking a briefing on AI, please. It's like, okay, we can do that. We just can't show you all of the tools and how it's going to feel when it's actually GA.
Right.
Do you often get the when's this coming? When Microsoft are you going to do this? When can I have that? When can I have this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say it's coming soon. What does that mean? Yeah, that just means it's coming soon. I have no definition of soon. Yes, we do a lot of sessions where we might get the product groups in, the engineering teams in to kind of do that NDA kind of roadmap session where they know stuff that we're not going to necessarily share. So depending on the customer who's coming in, we'll do those sorts of sessions and really try and give as much information as possible. That's part of enabling the customers to know what they can implement when, what they should wait for, they should just crack on and get going with, because that will prepare them. So a lot of conversations like that we have.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to get down into one of your sessions in the MTC because
we'll get you down. We'll get you out and on the road. Absolutely.
I've been out for so long with the piano. I can't play the piano either.
So yeah, it's interesting because when we're talking about kind of hybrid working, we're actually in the office most of the time. So 2 to 3 days a week we're running sessions. So we're more office based than I think most of the rest of Microsoft in the UK, because we've got a custom facility and all the customers come to us rather than us going anywhere.
Yeah,
So it's quite a weird sort of setup, really. At least it feels it now. 5 years ago it would have been normal.
Yeah, very much. I guess, Michael, any other news?
Any other news, just in general? We got avatars, so I'm outside of Microsoft now, Jabra, so we're GA stuff. So one of my coworkers popped an avatar in a meeting. I'm like, oh, we have it. So I then ran off and made my avatar 2 days ago.
That was announced Microsoft Build. That was this week, wasn't it?
Is what?
Microsoft Build.
Maybe that's why.
That's where that was announced GA, and I think some of the mesh stuff in some form of preview, I think.
Yeah, some of the mesh stuff's gone into preview as well. But yeah, avatar. You can tell when avatars have been released because you suddenly lose people for about half a day as they try and get their avatar to look exactly like them. Tweaking and tuning it.
I've given up. The beard part just looks so horrible in the avatar builder. It's just this plastic. Yeah. It's like a Lego block. There's no joy to it. So I got rid of the facial hair, and then the avatars are all designed to make you look like you're about 28 years old. So having hair go over with a receding hairline is not an option inside Avatar. There's no concept of receding hairlines. There's like straight up bald. But there's no like, you're 50, so let's take this hipster haircut and then move it up the head a bit. So my guy does not look much like me.
That's why I put a hat on mine.
That's why I put a hat on mine as well. Mine's got a hat, but you think
three. You have three. I've got three. I've got two.
Oh, and I was disappointed. I wanted to make like an alien avatar, and there's no fun. You can't have green skin. You can't have antenna. You can't have whatever. I'm like, so I just have to have another one who like I'm going to be a woman or what? Like no, I just need one.
You have to check out the Snapchat video filters. But they're GA. And I had a chicken on my head and a slide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you put the chicken on? Can you do the Snapchat filter on an avatar or only on real video?
I'm not sure. I think it's only on real video.
It's only on real video. Yeah. It used to be able to, if you had the Snapchat camera installed, you could use that directly in Teams as the camera and do that. But yeah, You'd think there'd be a co-pilot for avatars. Take your picture and generate an avatar for you. That's gotta be the future, doesn't it?
DALL-E is there, right? Take this picture, convert it to a DALL-E avatar,
Yeah.
and then somehow take that and then wire it up, wireframe it up, and off you go.
That sounds easy enough, doesn't it?
I think you need an MTC session with some of your black belts to work on this.
Just to work out exactly how to build the right avatar. Yeah, that sounds like a community session in the making, doesn't it? How to build a good avatar.
See? Oh boy, anybody looking for a session at any of I see you've got all your badges behind you from sessions. Present at Comsverse, ComsVNext, Collab Summit, whatever. How to, dominating avatar editor in Teams.
Yeah. I think that's a winning session, isn't it?
That's a solid 45 minutes.
Everywhere.
At the beginning, you start whatever. You have somebody raise their hand. Who wants me to make their avatar? I can't share an avatar. You can't really share it, right? It stays within your profile. But it's like, let's go through and skin tones. Oh, click up here, click over there.
You're going to be an avatar artist.
An avatar artist. Yeah.
Yes.
There's all sorts of new. An avatar artist, that's a good one, isn't it? Yeah. There's all sorts of new job titles coming up, though. We're all professional prompt engineers now, aren't we? Now
apparently,
that ChatGPT needs prompting.
Next job I'm looking for, I'll just put, AI prompt expert.
Yeah. I just know how to ask the question. I don't know what the answers are.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, Build. I can't remember. So there was a lot of. I think there was a lot of Copilot, a lot of AI announcements at Build. I was only mostly interested in the Teams piece. Let me see if I can pull up.
Yeah, I mean, there was we just did it in selling Teams rooms. There's plugins to Copilot to farm your corporations.
Yes,
your on-premises thing. Or whatever. You can go march that, so then you can search and it'll know all your files and all that good stuff.
Fabric as well was another big one.
Cool.
So Fabric being able to aggregate together all of the content in data lakes and just be able to put a SaaS layer over the top of all of that data platform element.
Because that's the dream in the marketing things is they're always like, can you summarize the last 6 months with Contoso and create a graph showing the increase or decrease of sales as part of gross margin profit and then but you have to be able to get to all that Contoso data so you can make this stupid graph thing which looks awesome in some slick YouTube video that no one's ever really going to do, but the potential to do that will actually exist.
I'm sure that's what Cortana was supposed to do with Power BI back in the day.
Bill Gates still says that the AI he's always been after the perfect personal assistant. He's been after that since Clippy and all that. So I saw a quote that he's still like, the AI that's going to win is the one that makes the best personal assistant, which ostensibly, and I have a Teams room and some of our viewers may as well. It's like, hey, C, tell me the weather today, which is great. Anybody can do that. And then map that against sales of Cortana. Of Contoso to see if weather impacts our sales or whatever. Which, if you're selling seeds or widgets, there may very well be a correlation between temperature and weather and sales. Which starts off with a simple personal assistant. What's the weather, and then gets into, can I get a competitive business advantage? Yep, I know. I said your name. Stop. What do you mean you can't get to the internet right now?
I'm off as well.
Honor C is down because I don't have the error message on my Teams rooms that it's not connected to Teams. Oh well.
It's just anyway, C that's disconnected, isn't it?
The dream of the personal assistant. It'd be nice to see if it actually works. If it actually, at some point, it's more than just play this song and what's the temperature, which is all anybody uses Alexa and Google Assistant and Siri for.
I love some of the suggested questions on A, because just like, well, I don't really need to know where the nearest takeaway is. I live here. I already know where the nearest takeaway is.
They know me by name.
I'm just looking at the Build Book of News. So they announced, Avatar's new immersive spaces is private preview, and Mesh is private preview as well. So I think that's the VR element of
that's VR, yeah. So
That'd be interesting to see. That's
Need
in
to get-
private.
we need to get the Meta Quest Pro and try that. So shiny new technology to get our hands on.
Work could buy me a headset, and I just don't. I still
Jabra one?
don't. Yeah, because there's a immersive 3D designer for conference rooms. I forget the name of the product. So you would put the headset on, and you're essentially in the conference room. So when you see a Panacast with a 180-degree field of view, you could then replace that with another camera, and maybe 120-degree field of view is all we need. So you can swap in and out the pieces and parts. They've virtualized them all, and then you can walk around the room and see all that. So with the headset, so work would buy that for me, and then again with mesh and whatever. And I'm like, save the $500. I'd rather you buy me a new PC on rotation cycle than a headset. And then, you got the headset and all these other things. We're going to push back your PC refresh a year. No, let's not do that. I'd rather have the PC refresh right now.
I mean, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard enough wearing headphones for half the day, let alone wearing a headset for half the day.
You see, Martin and I, you're wearing a headset, but Martin and I are not. It's like, I don't want to wear one. If I'm going to do it, I want to hear music, right? So.
Oh yeah, I've got the proper speakers for the music. This is just so that it's got the mic and I can mute it easily.
Yep.
Is that a Jabra headset, Al?
It is a Jabra headset,
yeah. I didn't want to call it out because I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be
agnostic,
nonpartisan as best as I can. I'm trying to be like, hey, on selling teams rooms, I talked up the Logi Doc and Logi Huddles. I'm trying to be on these shows as non-competitive as possible and pro the entire environment. My day job when I'm off these shows is a tad different.
So there's only certain products you're allowed to talk about then.
Right, I'm gonna have to shoot. It's that time again for me, school time.
Thanks, Al. Anything you want to any final message of love regarding MTCs, or do you think we've covered it all?
No, I mean, if anybody wants to know more about MTCs, feel free to reach out. Happy to share more information. But I'll be down at Comsverse in a couple of weeks' time, or 4 weeks' time.
I may be there. I've yet to buy a ticket, my airfare, or a hotel room or anything. So who knows if I'll make it this year. I may wing it, just show up the day before.
Just show up, just gate crash. I'm sure you might know somebody who might be able to sneak you in through the back door or something.
Yeah, I know a lot of somebodies who might be able to do that. Like my buddy Randy Chapman at Logitech.
Yeah,
he'll sneak me in. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Al. We'll go ahead and wrap up, and we'll be back at Teams Fridays in 2 weeks with Ryan Herbst talking about hybrid life and him convincing you that hybrid is the way to go. That going on, bringing everybody home doesn't work, and he has the stats to prove it. So until then, have a great 2 weeks, everybody. A lot of you enjoy your Monday off, your long weekend, and let's play this music.